Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Mel, and today we're going to do a little bit of a twist on the try a chapter tag. I'm actually going to be picking, I think there's 7 books here, and I'm going to read the first 1 or 2 sentences of each of these books. I'm going to rate my thoughts on the actual intriguing part of the first sentence, and then I'm going to tell you just purely based off of the first sentence what I think I might rate these books. And then at some point when I get them all finished, I'll come back and tell you how accurate I was, and we can see if the first sentence of the book really has a drastic impact on the rest of the story, or if the hook doesn't really matter. So these are all some big old books, so who knows when I'm going to actually get through them, but they're all ones that I do plan to prioritize pretty soon. The first one that we're going to do is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I have been meaning to read this book for forever and just haven't gotten around to it yet, so let's see if the first sentence hooks me. Takes a minute to get to the first sentence here. So there is this stories of old in the very, very beginning, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to flip to the very first chapter and we'll read that first sentence. The stranger came out of the sea like a water of ghost, barefoot and wearing the scars of his journey. Okay, that's interesting. I think I'm going to rate this first sentence. I like the fact that we're talking about a water ghost. What is a water ghost? I really want to know what a water ghost is. And it's saying he's barefoot and wearing the scars of his journey. So that does intrigue me to find out what the journey is. What is he supposed to be doing? And I want to know who this guy is. So I think I'm going to give this first sentence a 7 out of 10. And just based off of my intrigue of that sentence alone, I think I'm going to give this one a 4-star. I'm pretty interested in that. That one's good. So, Priory of the Orange Tree, am I going to give it 4 stars? Moving on to Spine of the Dragon by Kevin J. Anderson. This one was gifted to me by Rachel, and she really, really enjoyed it. I'm still not sure if the first sentence is going to live up to her description of what this book is about, but let's flip to the first sentence and find out. Good grief, these have all the maps in them. Spine of the Dragon, Chapter 1. The great dust storm prowled over the Boundary Mountains like a living thing. We're going to read sentence 2 because I don't feel like that gave me much. Brown and angry, the murk loomed in the sky as it approached the capital city of Benaria from the west. So this first sentence or 2 is not bad, but I don't really feel like it's giving me a whole lot. It is telling me about a dust storm and it's coming over the mountains, but while setting the scene, it doesn't give me a lot to hook onto. So I think I'm going to give this first sentence a 5 out of 10, kind of smack in the middle. Not bad, not great. Based off of this first sentence, I'm thinking this is going to be a 3.5 to 4 star. Doesn't really grip me, but it's enough to make me intrigued. I did like the way that it was phrased. It wasn't clunky or hard for me to read out. So good first impression on the writing style. Then we have a Cassidy recommendation, and that is Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. Another one that is massive, so who the heck knows when I'm going to get to it. These are all, I believe, no, we've got some thrillers in here. Most of these are high fantasy, but a couple of them are thrillers, and that's just because the high fantasies are the ones that I think I'm going to enjoy the most. So let's read the first sentence of this one and see what we think. Oh, wow. We have lots and lots and lots of characters in this book. So let me flip past all the characters. Does it have proper chapters in it? That is the question. Okay, so there are 2 different spots in here. One that looks like a prologue and one that says chapter 1. So I'm actually going to cheat just a little bit and do both because prologues are tricky. So the prologue says, wind howled along the Marcher Road, icy rain swirled behind. Okay. It's pretty standard high fantasy opening sentence, I feel like. That was actually the first 2 sentences, so what I'm gathering is that he may have a little bit more of a choppy writing style. It's not going to be one of those that's got long, complicated sentences. He's going to get straight to the point. He's going to tell you what he means. And then the first 2 sentences, because again, they're 5 words each of chapter 1, its preparations had taken weeks. Statues had been regilded. I don't know. I mean, I'm gathering that there's something big, some kind of event that's going to be going on based off of that first sentence. So I am interested in what that big event is. But I think I'm going to rate the first sentence Both of those like a 5. I mean, it's pretty mediocre. I don't think that it was anything spectacular. It didn't just make me want to drop everything and read it right now, but pretty good, not terrible. Based off of just the choppy writing style and the fact that it's not very lyrical, which I like, I think I may give this one, again, a 3.5 to 4 stars. It's really hard to tell because that first sentence did not give me much, but heck, let's just go with it. I feel like a 3.5 stars is a pretty safe bet for me. Next up, let's toss in a thriller, and that is Sundial by Catriona Ward. I loved The Last House on Needless Street. However, it is one of those that I thought about DNFing, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because I didn't like the way that the writing style was in the beginning. So let's see what we think about Sundial's first sentence. So it doesn't like it has chapters, it just says Rob, and the first sentence is, "It's the chicken pox that makes me sure my husband is having another affair." The chicken pox makes you think that your husband is having an affair. Well, that's different. Okay, that made me intrigued. I don't know why that makes me intrigued, but I don't see how chicken pox and affairs are related, so I kind of want to find out. I think I'm going to rate that sentence a 7. That was a pretty solid first sentence. It makes me want to know what the heck is going on. Why Rob, which makes it seem like a man, thinks his husband's having an affair? But something tells me that I thought the main character in this was a woman, so maybe her name is Rob. I don't know. Just based off of that first sentence, I'm very, very interested. It could be a 4-star. We'll see. We'll see. Let's do like a fantasy sci-fi thriller mix, shall we? And that is The Helm of Midnight by Marina Lossiter. This is one that I've had my eye on for a really, really long time and just have not had a chance to pick it up yet. I do like the genre bending aspects of this book and think that that would be really interesting. I know very, very little about this other than the genre, so reading out this first chapter is going to be interesting. Again, we have one of those like scrolls or, you know, a little bit of poem in the beginning. So let's flip over to chapter 1. This is difficult because, again, we have like the top little bit here and then it looks like it starts the actual text. So this is in italics. So let's read the first sentence of both of those just to give it a fair shot. The first sentence in the italics says, "Worst of all, I am afraid." Okay. And then when we get to like the actual text part, it says, "The night pressed against the conservatory's windows like a wall of water, humid and thick." Okay. So it sounds like it's really trying to set the scene, set the mood or the tone for the rest of the story. I do like that the tone seems like it's going to be darker if we're talking about night pressing against windows and it being very thick in nature. Maybe that means that the tone of the overall story is going to be darker. And especially with it saying, "Worst of all, I am afraid." I'm interested in that. I like that. Gonna give that, I think, 7.5 out of 10. I like those first 2 sentences and the stage that they are setting. Based off of what I know of this book and those first 2 sentences, I'm thinking that could end up being a 4-star as well. I really, really liked that. Okay, so the last 2 that I have here, the next one is The Blacktongue Thief by Christopher Buehlem. Again, I've not heard a ton of people talk about this book in general. I've heard it mentioned here or there and I've seen it places, but I've never heard anybody give a full review on it. I think it's supposed to be like a comical and unique fantasy story. So let's see what the first sentence, well, we're going to go with the first 2 sentences because the first sentence is like 3 letters. "I was about to die. Worse, I was about to die with bastards." Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. I'm interested. Now that's the first sentence that makes me want to pick up the book. Okay. Definitely giving that like an 8, 8.5, maybe even a 9. I liked those first 2 sentences. I really want to know what's going to happen. How's he going to die? Who are the bastards? I'm intrigued. That's actually one that I might want to pick up like ASAP because that first sentence has me really interested. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to rate the book based off of that first sentence because it tells me that there is a little bit of a humorous undertone if you're going to say, "Worst of all, I'm going to die with bastards," but it also leads me to believe that we're going to start like right off the bat. We're going to go into high action. It's not going to be a lot of like stage setting. So I'm thinking like a 4-star. I'm excited for that one. That was good. Okay. And then last but not least, we have Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. This is one that I've had my eye on for a while just because look at that cover. I love that the guy's standing on like the ancient hand. And Rachel from Argent Rave really likes this author, says he does siblings really, really well. So I'm very interested to see what we've got going on here. Again, we have a prologue and we have a first chapter. So just to keep with consistency, I'm going to read the first sentence of both. The prologue says, Geyer and Maya were playing Ghouls and Heroes. Okay, I'm interested in the ghouls part. And then chapter 1 says 12 years later, it was hot and Maya was watching an empty house. That first sentence is not great for me. I don't really care about it being hot or an empty house. I'm a little bit interested about why she would even be watching an empty house, but that first sentence doesn't really just grip me. The ghouls and heroes is a little bit more interesting because I'm very interested in ghouls. So I think I'm going to do maybe a 4 out of 10 for those two first sentences. They just don't really grip me like I was hoping they would, and especially not coming off the back of the Blacktongue Thief. So I think I am going to give that one probably like a 3-star, just purely based off of the first two sentences. So remember, all of these ratings are based off of maybe a little bit of what I know about the book, but I'm trying to be objective and base it just off of the first couple of sentences because I want to know, does that play a big bearing on the story or not? Does that really impact the story as a whole? And I know a lot of people will read the first sentence and try to guess from like their favorite books, but I wanted to know, how big of an impact does the first sentence play on the actual book and your feelings of the book as a whole? I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun. I'm really interested in a lot of these now. It made me want to pick up these books even more without having to spend a ton of time reading the first chapter and then deciding, I don't really want to read this one and putting it down and then it just being like a waste of time. That took like 10 minutes to do, so super easy, super quick, but made me want to pick up a lot of these a heck of a lot sooner than I had planned. So let me know down in the comments if you've done this before and if it made you want to pick up any books a little bit quicker, or if you enjoyed this video and want to see a follow-up to it of whether or not, or what I actually ended up rating these books when I completed all of them. But thank you guys so very much for watching. If you want to connect with me, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!